let me rephrase that. I am really looking forward to working on this car. I've been doing a lot of work on a stinking Dodge Dart for too long now. It's still on the premises, but it'd probably be premise property. It's still here, but it's probably leaving like later today or tomorrow. So I am going to work on this little beauty. 67 Firebird, 404 gear car. It is, before I got my hands on it, because I've already worked on it, I've already put quarter panels on it, fender lips in the rear wheel houses. It's been body worked, primed. I have painted the firewall, the door jambs, and inside the trunk I have spatter coated the inside, the trunk area itself. I'll put a trunk floor in it too because it had shag carpet in it. Might have been groovy, but it didn't do it any good. Yeah, pulled the subframe off. I have blasted, I don't know if you can see the subframe, but it's right here. Blasted and painted it. Front suspension's all really tight in it, so I don't think we're going to change. I don't got to change out none of the. I don't think the car's got very many miles on it. But one thing I did come across when I was, something on the passenger side of this car leaked really bad. And the bottom, just down the whole passenger side of the car, like literally from the drive shaft to the pinch weld on the rocker, just looked like ceiling stipple in a 70s living room with grease and dirt and dust, you know, over the years leaking. And I mean, they did. Can you see that? She was that thick under there. So between that on the outside and then the factory carpet, the whatever you call it, the jute padding and all that shit on the inside and that on the underside, I didn't know until I was scraping all that shit off that there was holes just in the one floor panel. And I attribute that to, well, the dash doesn't really look like the windshield's been leaking, but something on this corner was leaking and the floor got wet. So I do have a pan that I'm fixing to put in it. And Pontiac! Here's the floor pan. Oh, sorry. Holy Jesus. I'm wrecking shit. See them holes? That ain't supposed to be there. Which is odd, because it's a pretty nice floor anyways. Looking at it today, I noticed something interesting. See those? I never thought about this before because I never paid attention. There's none here. I think those are seat relocation brackets. Never seen that before. But that's all they do is they bolt into, focus, not on my hand, stupid. But anyways, they bolt into the factory holes and then they move your seat brackets back, I would say about 3 inches, give or take. So that's kind of interesting. Never seen that before. Factory 4-gear car. All right, so anyways, there's a subframe that, like I say, I've blasted it all and painted it. I'm going to be putting a disc brake kit on the car. I'm going to be doing the mechanical work on this car. The owner of the car, it's a young fellow that owns this car. This was his dad's car many years ago. So the young fella has had the motor is rebuilt and it's wrapped up in plastic in the corner of his garage for a couple of years now. Apparently the transmission is rebuilt. I think this car should have a Borg Warner in it. I think Pontiacs use Borg Warners and Chevs use Muncies. Could be wrong. That's what I think. But anyways, that stuff's all done sitting in his garage. I don't think this car is even going to get headers. I think it's still going to retain the stock manifolds. It's going to get disc brakes. What I'm going to do is a spindle out disc brake option for the car, so that in the event that when the young fella who ain't never going to get rid of this car, in another 10 years or something, he might decide that he wants this car to be bone stock again, and he might very well put the drum brakes right back on it again. Who knows? But I'm not gonna change anything so that he can't. I don't even want to bust the spindles out of there. So there. So I guess, yeah, that's kind of the long and short of it at this point. I'm going to put some Pontiac rallies on it, just the 15-inch. I know we should have had 14s in 67, but whatever. So yeah, it's just going to get some rallies on it, 15-inch rallies, rings. You know, the silver ones with the black. And yeah, so I guess I'm going to get started doing a floor pan. Which actually is, I mean, it's shitty work, but it's really about the only shitty work that I got to do on this car. The rest of it is just going to be glorious and just purple-headed boners for the next couple of weeks, months, years. I don't know. I got a lot of work to do to this car. It's going to take a while, but I'm quite happy about it. It's going to be. I'm glad to work on it. So there. I gotta pick the front end up on this car. How the hell do you do that when there's nothing there to pick it up from? You know, but I gotta do something, right? Okay. So I done some stuff in here. I didn't do a whole bunch of taping while I was doing it. Wasn't very glamorous, I wouldn't say, but that's kind of the way the old cookie bounces when you got bouncing cookies. And as far as the glamorous part, well, I'm no Don Johnson, you know. I have a bunch of it welded. I do have along the toe kick up there, I got some tacks holding it in place. I got nothing there yet. That does not deceive the eye. There's a good inch gap there, and that corner doesn't fit either. That's the way it goes with this stuff. Floor pans are pretty easy if your affected area is just a flat. Because then you can just cut a hunk out, smack it on there, cut it out, weld it in, you're done. But as soon as you start getting up into those areas, none of it's ever bent right. You know what I'm saying? The curves aren't right, the bends aren't right. The dips and valleys, the crevices, the cracks, the keisters, the cleavage, none of it's right. Ever. I don't care whose floor pans you buy, they ain't right. All the high dollar stuff says it's made in America and stuff, they're all full of shit. Everything's made in Korea, China, Indonesia, Uganda, I don't know, wherever the hell they stamp them. Anyways, I did do one big long weld right there, pretty much right at the edge of the seat brace. There's a big long row of spot welds, and the floor pan underneath the brace is really good, and actually it was good just about up to it. So I did my cut pretty close to where the spot welds are underneath, and then I butt welded it along there. I had to weld that from the bottom because who doesn't like laying on their back welding? So what I'm going to do now is, now that it's dropped in place, and I have the floor is cut out underneath. There's my pile of shrapnel. You can see by the bits when I do them. Oh, see, we leave a little to be desired there yet. When I do them, I'll cut the center of it out, and then I'll work my way out to my final cuts. Where I'm overlapped in here, we're probably overlapped by around that perimeter, 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. And so my intent there is, I'll get the panel flat over to the tunnel. It's already flat up against the toe kick. I had a big bar in here and gave her the business, pushed her forward. Then I'll go around it with a cutoff wheel and I'll make one cut around the edge, and then I'll be able to pull the factory steel out of there. I try to keep as much factory steel as I can, make the patch as small as I can, even just for the fact that it ain't right. I mean, I don't know if you can really tell, but those lines, they don't line up. That hole, it should be way over there a good inch or better. I mean, on that side, you can see that it's the hole itself in the center has got to be 2 inches from the edge. Here, it's probably barely an inch. Whatever. There are easier, faster ways to do this, but when I'm doing this on somebody else's car, I don't just whack it together and hope for the best and say, well, there you go, that's better than it was. It's not rusty anymore. When I do it, I kind of do it thinking that when you pick your car up from me, you're going to take it home and pull the carpet out of it and have a look at what I done. And if you're not happy with what I done, well, then you're going to get a plane ticket and you're going to fly around the world and tell everybody I'm an asshole. So I try to do work like I would do it on my own car. And this is what I would do if this was my own car. And then if you got a problem with that afterwards, well, then I think you're the problem, not me. Probably not, though. It's always me. It's me. But yeah, so anyways, I'm going to carry on with it. I'm going to probably stop shaking the camera around here yet because you're probably getting nauseous. But yeah, I'm to the point now where I'm going to have to, I might even be able to just lean on that, or I might have to go underneath and push the tranny tunnel over to meet the floor pan. One way or another, everybody's got to shake hands. So I'm going to get them to shake hands, and then I'm going to go around it with a cutoff wheel, really small one. I'm using, at this point, I think I'm using, Jesus, look at how shaky I am. At this point, I think I'm using like a 3/64 cutoff wheel just because they were on sale. So I bought a whole stack of them. But that leaves plenty of space, and I'll butt weld it in. Once I get her cut and G's-lead up there a little bit, I'll probably flash you in here again in a minute. And yeah, that's a little update on what's cooking. So I'm going to keep stirring the pot here. And pause. So I got a few welds in along there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to screw in an earplug, and I suggest maybe you do the same because it's probably going to get loud. I'm going to take a cutoff wheel, and what I'll do is I'll run along the edge and I'll cut between the welds. Then I'll put another weld there. Then I'll cut between the welds and I'll put a weld there. Like I'll pull the floor pan and the tunnel flush together. Whoop. Not like that. Whoop. Like that. And then I'll weld it. And then I'll go back and I'll cut through the welds. Then by the time I'm done zipping all the way up, then I'll be able to take that one strip of the existing tunnel out. And I'll have a butt weld all the way along. And then, yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm going to do. That's the way I do it. That's how I do it when I do it, what I got to do, the way I got to do it. So, stick it. There you go. There you go. Like I said, it's going to get noisy. It's always good when you got welders and lights and extension cords and air lines. Do your best to braid them all together. Just get them all tied up in one great big cat's ass that you got to fight with. That's what I'm talking about. All right, here comes the noise. Oh, playground. Holy hell. Just a second. Oh. It's tough being an old gym rat, marathon running, rope climbing, ladder straddling piece of work like I am. Here we go. Sec, I need a bigger wheel. Oh! Got one. Oh, that's some bitch, hey? Now, if this won't correct poor life choices, nothing will. One little thing, if you're getting a fairly wide cut in there, and you don't want to weld that wide of a cut, instead of cutting straight into something like this, if you angle it a bit, it'll narrow that cut up. It's just the way it goes. I don't know the physics of it. That's what it does. Straight in, this is 3/64, so it'll be a little bigger. But if I narrow her down, sometimes you can get it so that it's too thin to even weld. Oh yeah. Like that there. Again, without cookies. So it's tough to manipulate things sometimes, but just gotta work on your manipulation. Talk to your wife, maybe. See, and the problem I'm having is the tunnel. The floor pan's thicker than the tunnel. So we're not really playing the same game. There's the game. I'm a professional squinter. I go a little slower in some of this because I don't like it getting out of control and getting away on me. That's why I don't get in here with a Makita, because holy hell. Come on now. You gotta loosen the braid. Here's another thing, if you got one of these body saws, don't keep going and paying how much money they want for the blade for them. Just take a hacksaw blade and cut it. It fits right in there. That was my inner peace breaking free. This is hard on the guy's knee holes. Oh! Yeah. Why not? Something I was talking about with the way things are stamped. I got better than a half an inch, and I ain't gonna be pushing that. So I'm gonna have to make a cut down in there, spread that open a little bit, lay it back into that corner, then weld everybody up. But so from this point, what you'd be doing there is you just be going in there now and just filling in between those welds. Hey, just welding up those gaps. But as you can see, I got a little bit of daylight showing through there, so I can get a nice butt weld in there. Then I can grind it and finish it. And then I'll do the same along up there. And then that's it. The floor pan's in. It's done. So I think I'll leave it there. That is our first video on 6.7 Firebird. Time to forge ahead on this baby. If you watch this, I appreciate it. Thank you. And stay tuned, because there'll be lots more. See ya.